Okay, so, yeah, healing is a choice. We all have a choice. And sometimes your ego is going to make it really difficult for you. It's kind of like those walls that we build, either in the past or even recently. And they're put there in the hopes that it's going to protect us from something. But the only problem with the walls is sometimes that doesn't allow for growth or to mature emotionally or anything like that. And sometimes that part of the ego is not really a healthy one. What it's going to do is going to keep you in stasis mode, thinking that it's going to keep you safe, but then there's no movement forward. And it gets really confusing for other people, especially if you want to do that yourself, but another person's quite content and reasonably happy doing whatever they're doing, or living the sort of life that they want to live. And to each their own, because that's free will. You're allowed to, especially as an adult, live however you want to live. And there should be no judgment from anybody else because they're not in your shoes. That's for one. I wouldn't say an argument, but somebody said some words to me that rang true for the most part. Most of what was said was very true, and it was touching more so on like my the ability to preach and how I preach quite a bit. I do practice what I preach. I'm not perfect, and I'm gonna hit the occasional snag once in a while, but it doesn't stop me from moving forward because I have pretty good goals set for myself, regardless if things work out the way that I want them to or not. And I'm quite happy with knowing that somebody else is able to speak freely towards me about how they feel about me, because it's nice not having to guess when somebody lets you know how they feel about you. Other times people are, I wouldn't say cowardice, but they're afraid of the consequences that they will be met with if they were to share with you how they truly feel about you. And for the most part, I have no hateful feelings towards anybody. If there's a person I dislike myself, then I just usually keep my distance from them. Unless I'm being put in a situation where I have to work with them. And in the most times during my life, that's usually in a work setting, you're civil with the other person because there's no reason to start no shit. But some people will get caught up in their ego, and they'll feel the need to kind of to gain some sort of power back for themselves if they feel a lack of, take somebody else's power or their energy by belittling them or putting them down in any way. There's a difference between talking to somebody with respect and constructive criticism and then talking to them almost as if they're a child. And I've had it done to me, and I've done it to other people, and it's not pleasant. I think what gets triggered is there's a moment where you are almost reflecting of what was done to you, how you were treated. So in that moment when you're triggered in a certain way, if there's any kind of emotions involved, you may resort to how somebody treated you, which isn't always the best way of going about it, because then the lesson's not being learned, clearly. And that's the kind of goal that I strive for, is to learn the lessons to move forward. I will admit my faults. I will take accountability for my actions, my words, my thoughts, how I treat another person, and everything that goes with me. But as far as other people's actions, how they feel, how they think, what they say, that will be strictly on them. I will not carry those burdens for them. If I have an influence on other people, or I have a direct influence on somebody, let's say during a conversation or something, and I've upset them and they've acknowledged and let me know that, I'll do the best I can with what information I have to go off of to adjust myself accordingly based off of what I've learned. If I do not have the tools or the means to adjust myself in a proper manner, then that other person has full right to either disengage in the conversation or walk away, or give themselves space to analyze the situation or do whatever they need to do. And there should be no hurt feelings on either side. It's taken a mature response to something that may or may not be upsetting, or it's just understanding as adults that there's an impasse and you need to go your separate ways, or you need to take a moment, like a breather. This could be with family. This could be with friends. This could be with, let's say, baby daddy, baby mama, or even just partners in general. It's very important that you give yourself some time to breathe. It's very important that you do stay independent, even in a relationship. I've said this before, and it is a lot easier said than done, because you're sharing energy with a person. Now, regardless of whether or not you agree about that sort of stuff or you believe in that sort of stuff, energy is real. It's scientifically proven. I mean, I don't know what more I could say about that. And we all have an impact on each other. It's not necessarily just verbal. Excuse me. So, my lessons being learned. There's a lot of things pointed out to me in detail, some of my more shadow side. And instead of getting upset about it, instead of being triggered by it, I sat and I listened to what this person said, and I agreed with them. I wholeheartedly agreed with them. There may be a few details, minor in there, that I didn't fully appreciate maybe, but for the most part, the encompassing conversation, everything that was said about myself from this other person was fairly true and not too much offbeat. But I want to make it very clear that if you get put in a situation and somebody's calling you out on your shit, it takes a lot to admit your faults, but then to do something about it.